Welcome to episode 68 of Communication Error Podcast, a gaming debate podcast where we may not always agree, but if we listen to what one another has to say, maybe we'll be able to fix our communication error. I'm one of your hosts, Cheesy, and the man who is not John Ebo, because we have a very special guest, Ngachacha, who you may recognize from Carpool Gaming and the very great PowerPoints that you put together that Microsoft also follows. How are you doing?
I'm very, very excited to be here tonight. And yes, you are correct. I am the man who decided to combine video games with PowerPoints because why not? I'm not sure why.
It was amazing though when you first, because what was the PowerPoint that you did that got Microsoft to recognize you?
I think it was like a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation on Final Fantasy VII
right?
Rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing about that Microsoft catching it was like that you could tell that they were geeking out about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Wait, do they
That's
don't
the most
even have
exciting
it
part.
on Xbox though, right? Rebirth's not on Xbox.
It's not, but you know what? Whoever is handling their socials is a dork like us, so it's all good.
Yeah, they were either really excited about Final Fantasy or the fact that somebody is using PowerPoint that isn't for school.
Could be that. But no, it's yeah, it was just this ongoing joke that I've had at Carpool about like how I always need to use PowerPoint presentations to persuade my wife to let me buy video games and do stuff like that. So then yeah, that's where it started. It's just always this ongoing joke. And then I was thinking about, I was so hyped up for Rebirth, and I was like, how do I, make something fun out of it, and not just do like a typical YouTube video. And then I was like, maybe I'll make a PowerPoint. This is stupid, but let's just go for it. And then, like you said, Cheesy, people liked it for some reason.
Oh, it's amazing.
Wait. I want to go back for a second. You said you
Okay.
make PowerPoints to your wife to get her to approve.
Yeah.
You buying games.
It's a joke.
I'm assuming some of
It's
the
a-
games that we're going to talk about tonight are ones that you need to do PowerPoint presentations on.
Oh,
But
I
also-
probably needed more than a PowerPoint for those ones.
But yeah, so you've said it's a joke, but have you actually thought about presenting a PowerPoint and saying
No.
why you need?
No.
No,
I think she'd like, get out of here. Just get to the point. Just
feel
tell
like
me
you-
why you need money.
I feel like you should. I think we all need to see that reaction. See if it
Maybe one
works.
day.
So then you can teach other gamers how to also convince their partners of why they need to spend on this expensive hobby.
Think about it. Let's see if I get to that roadblock. Because the games we're going to
Oh,
talk about tonight.
tonight's going to be fun because
need
I had
to.
a conversation like that today.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
and she's like, I don't care. Do whatever you want.
That's the best. That's the best answer.
Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited about tonight. We changed topics.
Yes, and also we have a guest too.
Yeah,
So-
this is different. It's different. So this is a normal. It's usually just me and Cheesy the first week of a topic, and then the second week we usually have the guest. But we flipped it this time. It's different. So last week we had Joey Ferris Wheel Pro, but that was like a community one as well. But this one's completely different. We're going into this raw. We get to give our opinions. We didn't talk about it last week, so it's exciting.
Yeah. And so if you want to be part of the community patch notes for next week, that will be basically a community driven episode because we won't have a guest talking about our topic. You can follow us on Com Error Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, TikTok. Follow the Discord. You can leave your comments on YouTube or anywhere that we may find them, and we may read your comments or questions on the show for next week. That's pretty much server maintenance. I think
We need
kinda
reviews. Leave 5-star reviews
yes
on Apple, Spotify. Follow on Spotify. There's a bunch of people following on Spotify now, so that's dope. So make sure you hit that follow button. You could comment on Spotify. So if you want to participate in the community patch notes, you could comment on Spotify and join the Discord server. We've been having fun on the Discord server. We're talking about a lot about Pokemon right now, and actually the topic we're talking about, which is the GameCube. And
Just
Oh,
is that what we're calling it? I don't know if that could just be
the GameCube.
the
me it is.
GameCube. All right,
For me
this
it
is the GameCube episode.
Yeah.
there it is.
But
No,
for
I love
those,
the GameCube. It's
yeah.
good.
But before we get into it, since we have a guest this week, we always ask the guests the same questions. And now that I know you like GameCube, you must have played Nintendo growing up. Do you prefer Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World more?
That is a very, very challenging question to ask.
But there's only one
Okay.
right answer.
There is only one right answer,
This sets the tone
and
for
my
the whole
heart has
episode.
to
I'll just let you know.
no pressure, no pressure on the whatever answer I pick. Um, both are excellent games. You know, I'd love to say that I want to try to combine them as one full experience, but I don't think that's possible because they are very different games. So I'm gonna go with Super Mario World, and I'm gonna go with
Boo, that's the wrong answer.
I'm gonna go with nostalgia though. I'm gonna go with nostalgia though. Like objectively, you know what? We could do 3 hours talking about it objectively. I'm just gonna go with nostalgia, just because I have very very fond memories of passing the controller with my brother. Because I don't think Super Mario Brothers 3 we played together that much, but I remember very distinctively for World we definitely passed the controller back and forth together. So we had a lot of brother bonding time. So just for that, just for nostalgia, objectively, like I said, we could be here all night. So that is my answer. Subjectively, actual factual is the right answer.
Well, the next time that you were here, you'll have to present a PowerPoint explaining why Super Mario World is better than Super Mario Bros. 3. But also, before we get into the topic, Ngachacha, you are one of the members of Carpool Gaming. I would like to know kind of how you got involved into such a great community and also what it is that you are doing at Carpool Gaming.
Question. The universe just kind of makes things happen sometimes. So I
Mhm.
started off at Carpool like everybody, as a fan. Like I just started listening. I want to say the first podcast from Carpool, I think I listened to as I probably pretty sure it was We the Gamer Cast because I think a friend was just plugging that he was on an episode with Sean Capri, and then I listened to it and I loved it. And I was a big fan of Sean Capri because he was a guest host on the Trophy Room for many many times,
Mhm.
and at that time I was just into Nintendo, just into Sony, and at that time I only knew about the Xbox Drive, so I went to listen to it because I loved him so much. But because I wasn't into Xbox, I was like, I can't listen to this stuff because I was like, I don't know what's going on at that time. But eventually I found out that they had like Nintendo Drive. And then once I started listening to that, just, things just snowballed from one thing to the next. And an opportunity just presented itself a few months ago where they were looking for hosts for the PlayStation Drive. And when they presented it to not just myself, but it was to Savoy Prime and Foolish Fuji, who I was really good friends with. When they said it would be three of us, because I'm not a content creator. Like I'm very new and green to this, but the way I framed it was I get to hang out with two other of my good friends, and obviously Ryan Turford, who I admire and respect quite a bit. I was like, I feel like I'd be foolish to say no to hang out with friends every week, so I jumped in. Still don't know what I'm doing, but I am one of the co-hosts of the PlayStation Drive. We usually pick a topic of the week. It's usually about we try to gear towards PlayStation stuff. It's about video games, and then I'll be quite frank. Usually the show goes off the rails.
It's
I
usually
mean,
about the weather, right?
it's
Because you have Ryan
last
Turford
night.
there, so it's just about the weather.
Last night's episode was about the weather. We were arguing about bland food, Paper Mario. Like it goes all over the place, but we do try to
Oh
talk about
yeah, I saw
PlayStation
Ryan
as much as we
is
can.
not a fan of Paper Mario. So cheesy. There's
There
one
were
other person in your corner.
Actually, Seth is also not a fan of Paper Mario.
not
$2
just
hero.
Thousand your door. Thousand your
Evan
door.
Zainsworth. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people are coming, and I don't have it on Switch, but I'm like, maybe I should just fire it up on my GameCube because I'm looking it through nostalgia eyes, and I'm like, this is the goat of Mario RPGs, and everyone is just saying that no, it's not as good. So yeah, there's quite a few people who feel the same way. Cheesy, you didn't like it, eh?
I didn't. I thought it was a slog to get through. Some chapters were okay and they were kind of fun.
Mhm.
Others were just like there's just a lot of back and forth nonsense that feels like it slows down just the pace of the game. I think the battling system is great, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's just for as much as people hype that game up, it wasn't as good as what people were saying, in my opinion.
It You know what? I haven't played it in 20 years. It's so because of, you know, the way you're describing it and others, I'm kind of like I might ruin the memory if I play it again. So I haven't decided if I do want to go back.
Yeah, we have had an episode on nostalgia before, and it's like you either gotta face the facts and just realize the thing that you liked back in the day wasn't as good, or you just never visit it again and you just let it be what you remember it to be.
I might do that just because there's quite a few people who have been saying it's not a horrible game. It's not what Savage Prime would say. It's not cheeks, but they're saying like it's kind of mid, which I was like, I don't remember it being mid when I was 20 years old. I remember it being the goat. Like I just remember losing my mind with this game. So might preserve that memory. I think I might have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Well, that is very awesome. I think we now, like, if we're Thanos and we're collecting all the Affinity Stones, all the Carpool Gaming hosts, we are, what, like, maybe 4 away? I don't. How many have we had on the show?
We had Bowser.
We've had
Seth,
Sean. We've had Seth. We've had Ryan.
Locklith.
We've had Locklith. We have Ngachacha.
You're almost there. You're almost there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it.
That's our new goal. The Carpool Gaming Thanos Gauntlet. Yeah. But I okay. So we're talking about the GameCube, and I'm glad brought up Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door because the main thing. So what I'm trying to do, and I've made some videos about this, is I sold my GameCube collection probably like 10, 15 years ago now when I was in college because I needed money for books. The dumbest decision of my life. And now I'm trying to rebuild it. And what I've noticed is GameCube games are not cheap. And I know Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door, it's more affordable now that the remake is out because it used to be, we're talking American dollars here, it used to be like $120. Now I think it's down to like 70 or 80. So it's more affordable, but it's still kind of pricey.
It's surprising that the GameCube games, like, you mentioned in your videos, like, it's not just the fact that the prices aren't going down; they're not even stable. Like, they just keep going up in value. Because I remember I'm the same like Johnny, where it's like I sold my GameCube in my 19 when I was 19 or 20, just foolishly because I think I wanted to buy a PS3. And then a few years ago, I was like, man, I really miss the GameCube because it's a really special platform because it was the first console that I bought with my own money because Super Nintendo, N64 Nintendo is all, gifts from my parents. So that also meant that games were also limited to what my parents would allow me to buy or borrow. So again, I still got a few games, but if it's not like I could buy every single thing that I wanted, but the GameCube was from my money, from my part-time job. So if I wanted a game, I went out and bought it. So there's just such a nostalgic value to it, but there's a lot of good games to it. And like Johnny said, like it's really hard to rebuild your collection now. And I remember when I rebuilt it a few years ago, I was like, there's 2 games I still haven't bought yet because I was like, maybe the bubble will finally burst. Maybe people will be like,
can I guess
these
them?
prices. You can guess. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see if you can guess them.
Pokemon Gale of Darkness. No, that's not one of them. And Fire Emblem Path of Radiance.
Pokemon fan. No, I only recently got into Fire Emblem just with the Switch. So those are 2 games that are not part of my childhood. So the 2 games, one of them is quite popular, which is
Double Dash.
Smash Bros.
Oh,
No, I got Double Dash. I got that one right away. Yeah.
Smash Bros. That's not too bad. That was the first thing I picked up. Like Smash Brothers, I think I paid 70 for it. So it's not astronomically.
It's not as bad as the other games, but it's also frustrating because I'm like, they made a lot of copies of Melee. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's other games in my collection were like super rare, like Resident Evil 2, because they didn't make that many copies for it because it was ported everywhere. But Smash Bros. Melee, I'm like, they made a lot of copies, right? They sold a lot of copies. Why is it still 70 US or here in Canada? I think it's around 100. So again, it's not as bad as other ones, but because I'm like, the principle of it, it's like it should be cheaper because there's so many. So that's the hardest part. And then the other one I really want to get, which isn't part of my childhood, which is Twin Snakes, Metal Gear.
Okay,
Ooh,
that one's
Metal Gear
that one's
fan.
expensive. Yeah, that one's expensive.
I know. I've been looking at prices and I'm like, it's gone up like $60 now since 5 years ago. What have I done?
Yeah, I
So,
think
but that one,
so. Yeah, getting back into it, and you said you rebuilt yours a few years ago. Like I think it's at its all time high right now. Like I don't know if the bubble's gonna burst.
yeah,
And
that's what I was
personally,
asking.
I
Do you
don't know
think
if
it's
I
gonna
want it to
stay
burst. I
put?
don't know. Like I'm not mad that these things have value. Like it's not like I'm glad that if I were to buy Melee at $70, it's probably not going to drop below $70, at least anytime soon.
Mhm.
So things retaining value doesn't upset me. It's just very expensive to try to rebuild it or try to buy them. Like the Pokemon games, those are my holy grails. Gale of Darkness goes for like $250 US, and
Holy moly.
yeah, Coliseum I think is like 120, 150 US. And then like the Pokemon
Yeah,
box is crazy. It's like $1,000 or something for the Pokemon box, and it's not even a game. So it's Pokemon games.
1,000. That's hard.
So this, I made a TikTok today, and I said that I'm going to buy physical games now. I'm no longer a
Yes.
digital.
Okay,
Well,
but
all
you're
right,
just saying for the GameCube, correct?
no.
Wait,
That doesn't
what?
count.
Hold up.
For
This
Pokemon
is
games,
like
for
breaking
Pokemon
news.
games, for Pokemon games,
Oh,
and maybe
okay.
maybe Nintendo games in general, because Nintendo games like never go down, just in general.
Actual factual.
But especially for Pokemon games, I have never seen one go below what it retailed for. Like it's always retail or astronomically higher. Like if you go back to the DS games, they're super expensive. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like $300, $400.
Ooh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so
it's a good investment.
Pokemon
I like that you
games,
switched
I'll
over
buy
to
physical. I'll still buy digital. I'll get a digital version and a physical version at the same time.
Double dipping.
Peace.
Even better.
I gotta keep
like
Pokemon Company in business. I mean, they're not gonna
they're-
survive without me.
They are definitely struggling. Yeah, Johnny, did you? So Nagachaga, you were saying that you bought your GameCube. Johnny, did you buy your GameCube?
No, I got it for Christmas. I was
Okay.
thinking I was 14. When did it come out? 2001?
There's no way of knowing.
Yeah, early 2000s. Early 2000s.
There's no way knowing. Yeah. I think it's 2001. So that was 23 years ago. If I do the math, I was 13 or 14 at the time.
2001, September 14th.
Okay, so yeah, I was still broke. I was still like a broke teenager. My parents got it for me. I actually remember, like, I knew where my parents kept the Christmas presents, and I would go in there and I would play the GameCube. I would play Rogue Leader or Rogue. I think it's Rogue Leader. Squadron. Maybe it's Squadron. But yeah, I would play that. I would take everything out and put everything back in the box. Every time I did
serious?
that. Yeah.
And they never knew? They never knew?
I don't think they knew. I don't know. There was like Christmas Day. I remember my dad saying, "I thought this had plastic on it."
So he knew.
Yeah,
knew.
I think he knew. But yeah, so I got it for Christmas. I think the first console that I actually bought myself was a 360.
Oh, okay.
Nice choice.
So it's
Very nice.
interesting. We both have Christmas stories attached to the GameCube. Mine was every Christmas Eve we would go over to my Nana's house, and that was like a big Italian dinner, and that's where like the grandkids would open up Christmas gifts and whatnot. And in my stocking was a copy of Burnout. You know, Burnout? Yep. And
Yep.
I was like, oh man, I'm so excited to play this. I don't have a GameCube. And then the next day, I've told this story on IGN. They like asked, what's your favorite like video game Christmas memory? And so I typed it in, and they've read it on the show before. But on Christmas Day, I woke up to a GameCube from Santa And like that's how I knew my Nana and Santa were buds, because they obviously were talking to each other and were like, "Well, I have the game, just give him the GameCube." And so yeah, mine was a Christmas gift as well from Santa. And
Wait,
then
yeah,
I
Santa got it
decided,
for me, kids. Not my parents didn't get
Not
it for
grandma.
me. Yeah,
oh, Santa.
they were just holding it for
Just Santa.
Santa.
Santa just, that was from Santa. It said it on there.
No, I just meant
100%.
me when I said I knew where my parents kept the presents.
Yeah, it was Santa.
It was actually Santa sent them the presents in advance.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And anyway, so I've got the GameCube. If you're looking at the video, I decided that it would be cool to skin my console, and I've never done that with any of my consoles before. And I found this like green background with black flames, and I think it looks really cool. And then I put it on there, and I was like, I'll probably never do this again. But
Why?
It is-
It turned out well.
it is, yeah, I guess it has. Like every time that I show it off to people, people are like, "Is that a GameCube?"
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
I wouldn't do it with any of my other consoles.
For video or audio listeners, Cheesy is showing the ugliest GameCube you will ever see.
Hey, Nagachaga,
Cheesies. Nah. Yeah.
what is the reason that you love the GameCube so much? You obviously wanted to talk about this topic. We had a different topic in mind, but you're like, no, I want to talk about the GameCube. And we're like, great, let's do it. Why do you love it?
I honestly feel like when I'm looking back at, this makes me feel really old. Like looking at retro games, I'm talking about, like N64 and even including GameCube games. I feel like that generation, like those games really hold up really, really well. Not just in terms of mechanics, but just visually, right? Like yes, I can go back and play Ocarina of Time on my N64, and I'll play Resident Evil 2 and PS1, and it'll be fine. But a part of me is like, this looks a bit rough, right? And you know what? That's just how the first 3D games were. It's not a big deal, but playing it now when I'm 39, I'm like, it looks a bit rough, but I'll still play it for nostalgia. No joke. When I go back and hop on my GameCube and play those games, to me they're pretty close to modern looking games, especially if you hook up your GameCube to like an HDMI port. Like, yeah, they're not 4K at 60 frames, but to me they're pretty decent, right? And I feel like
Actually,
that's
you should play on a CRT the way they were meant to be played.
Johnny. That'd be a dream come true. That actually would be better. But just when I hop back into it, like I feel like they still hold up. And when I'm thinking about the GameCube library, there are like massive bangers, and it's just, I think a part of me is like, it's kind of disappointing that so many people skip the GameCube and they don't realize what kind of library it has. Like when we're talking about, before the port came out, but Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Eternal Darkness, Batten Kaitos, Rogue Squadron, Melee, like it just Twin Snakes, like these are exclusive to the GameCube. And it's just so sad that so many people have missed out on such unique and such fantastic experiences. And Nintendo being Nintendo, we don't have access to these games, unfortunately, because they are stuck on the GameCube. So I think and again, I talked a little bit before about nostalgia. So including nostalgia, including the fact that these games still hold up, and these are just very, very unique exclusives that you can't play anywhere else, to me, makes the GameCube the GOAT. And the control is great. I think it's ergonomically great. The C-stick is a bit wonky, but other than that, I like the big 8 button. I like the shoulder pads, but there's just so many exclusive games to the platform. And like, do you think Nintendo will ever bring it to modern platforms, like whether it's through a service or more ports? Like, will they ever?
Yeah, I mean, I think they will. I think they will. I mean, they're already doing it, at least in certain cases. We have the Pikmin games, we have Mario Sunshine, we have Metroid Prime, we have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, technically on
Eventually?
Wii U.
On Wii U. That's true. That's true.
So
I think it's kind of what Johnny was saying, though, is like earlier, these like the GameCube prices have just skyrocketed, and they probably will stay that way because we don't have access to them right now.
I think we'll be okay, even if they release them, especially if they only release them on like the NSO. Like if they don't have a physical release, I think the physical GameCube games will be fine, because I was actually, I was looking at prices for Pikmin 1 and 2, and they're still like $70-$80. Like they're not Nintendo games just retain value. Like it doesn't matter if they're re-released 100 times, they still retain value. And that's what I think, it's like a safe investment, if you want to call it that way. But I don't think if they have an NSO that if they put it out on NSO, it won't affect the value. And I don't think re-releases, same with like Metroid Prime, that game's been released 4 times now, and it's still $70-$80. Like it's kind of interesting to see it that the GameCube doesn't really get affected by that.
You think it's because Nintendo they're just, I mean, it's not the best, consumer friendly practice, but do you think it's because they rarely discount their games, and that's why the Nintendo Switch game hold value, Wii U games,
definitely
even some Wii games, like
definitely.
Well,
I mean,
so
a lot of people hate it. I actually, it's as a day one buyer, I love that they don't drop in value. Like that's perfect. Like I don't want to buy something like, take Ubisoft. I'm going to throw them under the bus again. That's my favorite thing to do. Take Ubisoft. You buy that game day one for $70. 3 weeks later, it's $35. Like it's better as like I understand. So if you can afford it, it's better for you. But I understand I'm more fortunate than a lot of people out there. And I'm glad they don't go down in value. Like they don't price cut, because it's
talked about this. We talked about this on the PlayStation Drive, where it's like you said, like yes, you have to be fortunate enough to afford these things, but it's sometimes frustrating to see a platform like PlayStation not really understand the value of their IP. Like, look, I know they're not the same as Nintendo IP, but they have pretty strong exclusives, and like you said, I mean, it's not like they're discounting them like Ubisoft, but eventually, they're big heavy hitters like God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, like they eventually do go on sale, which is a very nice consumer friendly practice. But at the same time, like what you said, it kind of devalues the IP, not necessarily the game itself, but in terms of like the franchise. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's I'm very curious to see where it's going to go, especially now that they've expanded into PC, where they're putting their exclusive games on PC. Is it devaluing their IP and brand, or is it expanding? I'm very curious to see, which method is going to work, because people thought Nintendo was gonna, be by the wayside with the Wii U, but Nintendo Switch is like what, climbing up on PS2 numbers, right? Like,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like,
I don't think it's gonna get there, but yes.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Just gonna find all the Switches and buy them.
Well, now I'm on this Pokemon. I don't know if Thunderstash Gaming is watching this, but he made a video about collecting Nintendo Switch games, and he talked about how you should buy the Pokemon games because of this exact reason. For like, they don't go down in value; they'll always go up in value. Now I need to buy the special edition Nintendo Switches that are Pokemon.
Oh my god!
So
no,
the Scarlet and Violet.
Dangerous still.
Yeah, so this is bad. I kind of regret getting into this GameCube collecting, because it's rough.
Well, I mean,
two of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, because Cheesy, you mentioned earlier that your GameCube collection, it's yours. It's yours from childhood, whereas Johnny and I, we were rebuilding it. So I want to ask Cheesy, like, will there ever be a point where you want to sell them, especially because you'll make a lot of money in your GameCube collection? Or do you think, you know what, nope, not going to make the same mistake that Johnny and Ngachacha made. I'm going to hang on to them.
It's so weird, right? Because like, I think a lot of people hold on to things forever because of the value and hoping that it will go up in value. But at what point do you sell it? Because at the same time, it's like, you can't take all of this with you when you're gone. Same with like selling it. Maybe let's say I sell it when I'm 70. That's still, I have some like good money there for when I'm 70, but at the same time, it's like, I probably could have done this sooner when it actually would have like meant something. You know what I mean? Like,
I saw something about this.
What?
It was you should buy physical games so you could have something to pass down to like your kids or like your family. So just put it in your will. Just put it like my GameCube collection will go to my dog or my cat or something.
Yeah, but then doesn't that kind of worry you that whatever you pass down to like whoever, they're just gonna be like, I don't want this, and then they just sell it.
Who
and
cares?
It doesn't retain
Who cares?
the same...
You're dead. You're dead. Who cares?
I know, but like, I guess that's the point. Is like, I care enough that if I was to sell it, I should sell it.
All right, what games do you have? What games do you have?
Right. I have Super Mario Sunshine, which, by the way, this is something that Johnny and I agree on, but also don't agree on. It's not a good game. However, I love that game. I love like the music. I love the theme of it. I love that it's just this idea of Mario going on a vacation and then gets framed for something that he didn't do. I don't know, like the island vibe of it is just very summery to me, and like that it's something that is so different that we haven't seen before, and I just love that it exists, but it is not a good game.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about it.
But now I will.
Luigi's Mansion 2.
That is
not like, 2, but the first one.
Do you know how expensive that game is now for a 5-hour game?
Luigi's Mansion.
Which one? Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion.
How much is
it now?
It's $70 American, so that's like $1,000 Canadian.
Whoa! It went up really high, eh? It went up. Yeah, that's like $700 Canadian. Wow.
Yeah, like I want that game, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on it.
Okay, I'm looking at my collection right now. Just what I have. I have Melee. I have Super Sluggers.
That one's worth a lot of money right now too. That's like $100.
I was gonna say that one's pretty rare. Yeah.
But is it Super Sluggers or just Sluggers?
It's Sluggers, I think.
Okay. Double Dash. I have Metroid Prime. I have Pikmin. I have Mario DDR, but I don't have the mat anymore, and I'm kind of upset about that. I have Strikers.
That's worth a lot of money right now.
God.
I was
you
going to say,
you could sell this collection right now, and you could probably, I don't know, go out for a nice dinner.
Mario Party 4 and Mario Party 6. Well, the thing
the Mario
is,
Parties are rare too.
Mario Parties are worth a lot. Yeah,
I have a daughter on the way, so please, nobody send this to my wife and say that we need to sell my collection for any reason
wife.
Right now.
You have a lot of money just sitting in that room right now. No. So that could be all right. Here. That could be like how long until you go to college?
For like 18, college fund?
Like 18 years. Like 18 years from now, 20 years from now. Like that could be a decent college tuition.
You're not wrong. If college is still,
I mean, if we still exist, we got to get there.
That got dark.
I will say though, I think it was at Toys R Us during the GameCube era and Game Boy Advance era, that they would have these kind of catalogs, I guess, that they would give out for free. And I always was afraid that I stole it, but it actually says free, take one. So I did. And in it is like basically all the games that you can get. Well, there's some like ads in here, but Metroid Prime, that's the first one. And then they've got Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker. Oh, except for this one isn't. This is crazy. I haven't opened this in so long. It's not titled Wind Waker. It's just Legend of Zelda.
Oh, look at that.
So I
bet you can sell that.
About. Probably. It's not really in great condition, but yeah.
I mean, you can sell anything, really.
Resident Evil 0.
So
nice.
Ngachacha has a bunch of Resident Evil stuff behind him. I see Resident Evil 2. I see a Leon statue, so I'm assuming he's a big Resident Evil fan. What I loved about Nintendo, like in GameCube era, was the Capcom 5.
Oh my god!
And it was Resident Evil 4. I still remember it still had only 4 GameCube, and now it's on literally every platform known to man. And I think even 0 and Resident Evil the remake have those stickers.
They were
But yeah,
exclusive
Capcom.
at that time.
Yeah. So the Resident
Oh
Evil
my
games
god.
were big back then. I loved them. And then I think the other Capcom game was Beautiful Joe. I think that was the other
Beautiful Joe. Can
Capcom
remember
5.
Killer 7 maybe?
Oh, Killer
Was it
7,
Killer
yeah.
7? That was such a cool thing to finally see, like, more mature games coming to Nintendo, but not just, but like what you said, Johnny, like exclusive to GameCube. Like it just made it feel so special. And yeah, like a huge Resident Evil fan. So just to actually experience Resident Evil 1 remake on the GameCube, like I'm telling you, you haven't played that one, you can still play it now. It's still spooky. Resident Evil 4 like blew my mind away just in terms of like the new combat system. But yeah, just just even what you're mentioning, cheesy, like even like just going back to the fact that Luigi's Mansion, like that was the launch game for the
Yeah.
GameCube, not Mario. We're gonna use Team Luigi, which was like so outlandish, so wild, but
Uh,
I love that game. I love that game. Like I bought that right away, and I was like, this is so much. I'm basically a Ghostbuster. Like this is
yeah.
friggin' awesome. And I've basically like a huge Team Luigi stan ever since then. But just I love the fact that Nintendo was just Nintendo, right? They just went for it.
Yeah.
It didn't make
Yeah,
sense
I
on
think I made
paper,
a I
but
made a tweet about this saying like collecting these games made me realize that Nintendo took a lot of risks back then that we don't I feel like they don't take many risks right now in the Switch era.
I
no,
think that's just
no.
across the board for everything right now.
And I would love to see
Yeah,
them
because
go back to like making Luigi's Mansion. Like I know they have Luigi's Mansion, but making something like Luigi's Mansion, have it be the launch title, and just be like, yeah, this is what we have. You know?
yeah, because you don't get innovation without taking risks, right? And it's unfortunate, don't want to get too much into it, but when you look at the games industry with this studio closing and you're not getting a sequel with this, like so
Hmm.
I get from a financial standpoint why they don't do it, but at the same time as this is my favorite hobby. Like I talked about in the PlayStation Drive, like I'd rather eat bland food for the rest of my life than give up video games. Like this is my favorite hobby, and I just want to see it continue to innovate so that there are new experiences instead of just sequels and repetitive things like that. Even though I'm guilty of buying ports and remasters and remakes, I still want some new stuff. And like I feel like you guys mentioned, like the GameCube really highlighted them just swinging for the fences. And if it worked and it didn't work, like Mario Strikers, like how awesome is that game? Like it was like you're body checking people, you're just slide tackling in that game, right? Like it was so much fun.
It was fun. And I think this is one of those nostalgia things where like we got uh Battle League, Mario Strikers Battle League on
Oh my
Switch.
god, that's so disappointing.
It's so disappointing, but I also wonder if that is because the GameCube game Strikers didn't have online. Like you could play with friends, I guess, but it was couch co-op. And so even when Nintendo Powercast played Battle League, we all played it together on the couch, and that was fun. Even though like
We didn't know what we were
you
doing.
can't you can't control what character you want to pass to or what character you're going to be. It's kind of just chaos. We still were having fun, and I think that is part of the fun of Strikers. Is like you didn't have to, we
Also,
didn't
like,
have a lot then that we do now.
yeah, I think people have those nostalgia blinders on, and they don't realize. I played Strikers on the Wii recently, not that long ago, and the content in that game like wasn't much different than what we got in Battle League. It was just people have these nostalgic memories of those games. Same with the Mario Baseball, which I mean we haven't got a new Mario Baseball game, which I would love to see. But Mario Tennis, Mario Golf. I do think the Mario Tennis and Mario Golf games before the ones on the Switch had like more Nintendo charm to them. They had the Mushroom Kingdom power ups, and they had the Mushroom Kingdom courses, which the new games don't really have. So I would like to see them go back to that, but I don't think the content is much different than what we're receiving today. It's just people have those blinders on.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't know. I do agree with you what you're saying, Cheesy. It could be because it's for me it's 20 years ago when I played Strikers, and because it blew my mind away. It is possible that when Battle League did came out, that there was no way any new game could possibly, replicate that same nostalgic experience, and that could be impacting it. But like you said, times have changed, so we are expecting a bit more in terms of what multiplayer online games look like, and Battle League was quite lacking in that sense. But you know what? That's not what Nintendo does. So maybe it's my fault for having the expectations, or you know what? Maybe I'm just a dedicated Nintendo who needs to stop making excuses for Nintendo.
No, I
No,
mean
I mean,
I
I-
agree. I agree about the sports games. The new sports games they are not what I wanted. Like Nintendo just doesn't know how to do online modes. They just don't understand what
They
people
don't.
actually want for online. Like speaking of Battle League, they had clubs, I think, right? I think it was called clubs.
Yeah.
And then they had seasons, but each season was a week. So you would have to play constantly in order to like get any benefit from it. And you're not unlocking anything. You're not getting anything for doing it. So like, what's the point of playing?
It's so weird because I feel like this is kind of going in a different conversation, but I feel like Nintendo is kind of getting closer when it comes to online stuff because, like, Splatoon, yeah, they still need to fix the online. It disconnects every now and then, but they do have like a season pass that lasts for 3 months. And yeah, it's a bit of a grind, but then they also have Switch Sports, which I know not a lot of people have played Switch Sports. But
13
there are
million people.
things that you can,
13 million people have played Switch Sports. What are you talking about? Not a lot of people have played Switch
I played
Sports.
it.
is that how many like it's sold? It's 13 million?
For
13 million.
sure,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
like on the cusp of top selling
Okay,
Switch
all right.
games.
Well, I don't know how long they have played it for, let's say that. But the
Yeah.
reward system is also very good, and like they would have new rewards out every week, and that's something that you can like work towards by playing these games. So I think, at least from what I see, the next console is, I think, really going to focus on multiplayer because I think they
think
know
so,
that
eh?
they're behind the times.
Give me battle passes in Mario Kart. Do it. I will.
That is
I
true.
will say, like, Fortnite gets a bad. I don't know if Fortnite gets a bad rap. It's been around for 6-7 years now, and it's probably more popular than ever right now because of the Marvel Battle Pass.
Yeah,
And,
probably.
Like, if Nintendo would do that, like if they would do that, if Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had, monthly or every quarterly pass, people would still be excited to play it.
Yeah.
Curious to see if they'll go that way. I am quite curious because, now that you mention it, like they do have quite a few very strong IPs in terms of multiplayer, right? Like Smash Bros. I remember when that came out, like that's what everybody was playing online. I'm not even a big fighter game person, but even I put in like more than 100 hours into Smash Bros. And that's just playing online, playing with friends. So they do have it, but I hope you're right, Cheesy. I hope they're on the cusp of actually putting, maybe I don't even want to say it's time or effort, but just, working with the right people to see like, this is what people are doing in PlayStation, Xbox. This is what people actually want for online. Like, again, it's not time and effort. It's just like, who do we ask so that we can really capitalize and give people what they want in terms of the online experience? Because the IP is there, like Mario Kart,
Mhm.
Smash Bros. Like you said, Switch Sports, like that 13 million, like people wanted that dang thing. So it is there. It's just, and like you're saying that there's reward systems, but maybe that's a lack of communication in terms of PR and letting people know that, there is this reward system, come back into it or whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
They got to figure out something I think that is one area that it's just, again, it's frustrating because they got that Nintendo magic with the IP, but just what do we do to keep people engaged for, much longer? I don't play Animal Crossing, but I assume like they're lacking in online support in terms of, I don't know, new seasons or
They just kind of
anything.
stopped. They just kind of stopped supporting it. They're like, all right, we're
Isn't that
done now.
easy money? Isn't
No,
this
it's
easy money?
completely
for, like,
easy
new
money.
updates?
Nintendo's not smart. All right,
Ooh,
they're
I don't know about
smart
that.
with some things, but they're really dumb with other things.
I think when it comes to Animal Crossing, it was just way too much for them. It sold way more than what they were expecting, and there was no way.
Why
that
not
they could meet
capitalize on
demand.
it? Why not capitalize on it?
Yeah, no, I agree, but maybe they're like, okay, let's save our efforts for now. Which at the time, like, I don't know if that was a smart decision or not, because are they going to get the same amount of people to buy the next Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing
I mean,
New Leaf
I don't think
was
so.
like the second best selling game on the 3DS. Like Animal Crossing's a huge
Oh,
IP.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like Pokemon and then Animal Crossing.
So maybe the series is growing enough to where they can just wait and be
And
like,
cozy
oh,
gamers are
this is-
everywhere. Cozy gamers
Yeah.
are everywhere.
think about what it is that they are doing right now to make it instead of releasing like season passes. I totally get what you're saying. It would still keep people playing and there would be frequent updates, but let them let them cook. I mean, let's see what they're
Ninjala still
doing.
exists, all right? Ninjala still exists, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest. Like, it's a free to play Nintendo Switch exclusive game,
Yeah.
not made by Nintendo. Like, why does that thing still exist? Because they constantly put content out.
Yeah. I mean, because they have like what, a web series and stuff like that. But
We're
anyway,
not talking about that. We're talking about GameCube. All right, Cheesy, I have a question.
yes. Yep.
Are there any games that you don't own for the GameCube that you want to get?
Yes. As I was looking through this booklet, and just one that I know that I want, and one that I never got to play, but I was very curious about it because we got Mario Sunshine, and that felt like something. I mean, it was new, but it just felt like this is a fresh idea for this console. We got Luigi's Mansion. That is just Ghostbusters Luigi. I'm with Ngachacha. I mean, I think if you don't see Ngachacha and I using the Luigi gif of him shirtless, then we're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll do it more.
there is Wario World. I've never played Wario World
That's
on
expensive.
GameCube. Yeah, and it.
I mean,
it looked
everything's
really
expensive, I
fun.
guess. So, I mean,
The tagline, let me just read this real quick. The tagline is, sometimes it's good to be bad. In Wario World for Nintendo GameCube, take control of everyone's favorite misunderstood anti-hero Wario on his most ambitious quest yet. It all starts in a basement of Wario's mansion, where his treasure hoard of jewels rests just waiting to be picked up again by his greedy hands. Little does the disasterly Wario know, however, that his treasure has been swallowed up into another dimension. In order to get back to the precious loot that wrongfully belongs to him, Wario will have to brave a world full of monsters, traps, and puzzles that would deter most other plumbers turned villains. Deter.
Deter. There you go. Deter.
I almost got there.
It's expensive,
yeah.
but I think you can still pick it up for, a decent. I think you can still pick it up. I think you can.
And I don't even know if it was a good game or not.
Well, not till you try. I'm trying to think if I play. I feel like I rented it and just played it once, and can't really
Yeah.
remember if it was good or bad. But I know I mentioned 2 games that I wanted, but now you reminded me with the magazine. It's actually a third thing I want, which I really don't think I'll buy. I really can't justify. Like, it's very illogical. When my OG GameCube, I did have the Game Boy Advance adapter.
Oh my
That plugs onto the
god.
bottom.
Yeah.
Oh.
The
Yep,
Game Boy
I had
player.
it. Yep, and I had like Golden Sun, and I was playing a few Game Boy Advance games. And yeah, I probably sold it for like, I don't know, $30. Like, do you know how much that thing goes for now? Because you need a disc for it to.
It's
to
more
play on
than the
GameCube.
console itself.
It is more than the console itself. That's why I won't, because it's just very foolish and very irresponsible. Because I can't even think of too many Game Boy Advance games that I actually do want to play. But in my mind, part of me wants to, because it's like, if I'm really going to rebuild my childhood GameCube, then I need that thing on the bottom of it. So it's very tempting. But like Johnny said, like it's very expensive, and I'm pretty sure that most of them don't even have the disc to actually make it run. So if I want the complete thing with the disc to make it run, like, I'm gonna need way more than a PowerPoint to let my wife persuade my wife to let me buy that thing, because that's such an irresponsible thing. But I think that would be the one I really want to get. But just, yeah, I don't know, for some reason, like, very adamant about recreating my childhood one, because I saw in yours, Cheesy, like, you have the Wavebird, and I know that logically that's the better way to play my GameCube, but I never had the Wavebird, so I didn't buy one now. I just
It-
bought the OG controller, and I'm like, nope, wired, because that's not what I had.
Oh man, but then once you go Wavebird, it's like I never want to go back to a wired controller. That was a very magical time for me because like it didn't make sense to me how you could play this without it being hooked up to the console. And there weren't any wires in between, and I could like just go anywhere. So like when they were talking about it with the Wii being wireless and the Wii U, like sure, yeah, but like I've already had that experience, and so I was just grateful to pick up a Wavebird. And honestly, I don't even know if I knew what a Wavebird was. It was probably just something I either got as a gift or I saw it in the store and wanted it and just picked it up. But it's one of those that's like, how did I possibly come across this that changed gaming for me? It was
Does it work well? Like, is there
oh
any
yeah,
input
yeah.
lag?
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, there's really none. So what you do is you take your Wavebird. I wish I had the controller with me, but then you plug it in, and then there's like a little dial down here at the bottom for like a channel.
Oh,
And so you set it to that channel, and then kind of like a walkie-talkie. Honestly, that's how they would
oh,
communicate with each other.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Like a Nintendo.
And then you would have
right?
to set the same channel to the Wavebird controller. But yeah, I love this console, and I think it's a shame that more people didn't buy it. According to Per Schneider, one of the reasons that they didn't buy it is because at the time PlayStation 2 was also coming out. It is a DVD player. Also, it's black. This is like a
GameCube's
blue,
black.
purple.
We could get black.
Yeah, black.
You could.
Yes.
Yeah.
It had a handle.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
wasn't it
no.
the you couldn't get black at launch, right?
Oh, I don't
No,
remember.
launch was indigo. I think launch
Yeah.
was indigo and probably like orange spice maybe or something. But no, black wasn't one of the first colors. You're right.
But
And
I
a lot
will
of
say, like,
fellas,
the
a lot of
PlayStation
fellas
2.
didn't like that color. They thought, oh, I'm not gonna buy that because of
Indigo?
because
It's
of
purple?
how it looked. Yeah.
Because it's purple. Come on,
I mean,
guys.
definitely the PlayStation 2, with the DVD player, it took over the market.
Yeah.
GameCube, I think, technically is more powerful than PlayStation 2. I'm not sure.
Technically, yes. You're correct. Yeah, on paper, it technically is. Even though the mini discs themselves, I want to say, hold less data, I think, than DVDs. But yeah, the GameCube processing is, and you know what? Maybe that's why the games still look wonderful even today. Could be that could be
Yeah.
one of the reasons.
Yeah, I wonder if, people probably were turned off by the color, unfortunately, but the disc, well, yeah, the small disc is also weird.
Yep.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
Nintendo was trying to avoid like people like emulating and burning discs and stuff like that. But
Yeah, how's that
it was a
going
bit
for
weird,
them?
but
that's-
Nintendo's and go ahead.
So what I made a video about this, or I made a video about how the Switch 2 won't fail because it's gonna have Pokemon games, and then I said, unlike the GameCube game, or unlike the GameCube that did fail, and people were surprised that it didn't sell well. Like, I think it only sold like 30 million
Yeah,
units.
it's not.
Yeah, it's really low.
It's super low, and people were shocked about that. They're like, "Oh, I thought everybody loved the GameCube." It's like, yeah, people love it now, but it was not successful financially at all.
It's crazy when you think about it, right? Like you said, at that time nobody loved it, just 30 million of us. But like you said, hop onto eBay, you go to a retro game store, people clearly still love this thing. Somebody loves it because people like me are spending, almost $200 on just one GameCube game now. So there's people who love it now, and like you say, like you guys said, maybe it's nostalgia blinders, but I don't know. I do miss that time, like you said, where they're just taking chances, and I feel like the GameCube, to some extent to the Wii, they were taking a lot of risks in that. And I love my Switch, still rocking my OG. There's a lot of great games on it, but Nintendo still is pushing the boundaries a bit more than the other players. But when you compare Switch, going back to like Wii U, Wii,
Yeah.
and GameCube, like it's not quite the same. So it's a little disappointing. But I love that system.
It's just sad how studio heads right now are afraid to take risks. Because I was having this conversation with my friends about D23 that just happened. What, last week? Was that last week? 2 weeks ago? Anyway, we were talking about Pixar.
All the sequels?
All the sequels. And it's like, you have Toy Story 5, you have Incredibles 3. This isn't Pixar, but Frozen 3 and 4 got teased. And it's just like, okay, you guys want to
Robert
make
Downey
all
Jr.
of
is
these,
coming back.
you want to make all of these sequels, but like there's a reason for why you are making these sequels is because the IP was so good to begin with. Do that again. And I
There
know
is
that's
a new
easier said than
movie.
done.
There is a new Pixar movie. It's that Beaver one.
Yeah, I'm excited about that because it's something different, right? It's this girl who wants to put her mind in a or she, I don't know, it's something about a beaver.
Something about a beaver.
Yeah. That's the name of the movie, something about a beaver. Um but yeah, it's like, why can't you just look back at the magic that you created at the time, and you were that creative at the time, and they have spawned sequels over the years because of what you started.
Do you? I got a question for the two of you. Do you think Nintendo will ever release and I'm talking like AAA new IP, or do you think they're gonna stick to their bread and butter in terms of what's left on the Switch, then Switch 2, or do you think they'll try, like you said, launch a new franchise, more sequels? Do you think they'll ever try again? Because I'm trying to think of like what was the newest IP on Switch from Nintendo?
Ring Fit Adventure, which
But
has
I
done
would
really
argue
well for
that
them.
that kind of is in the Fit line where you have Wii Fit U, Ring Fit. Like I think they're all kind of in that same
Okay.
line. I guess the one
Fair,
before that is
fair.
ARMS, which I highly doubt we're going to get a sequel. And
I was gonna say,
then
there's no sequel though. There's no
I
sequel.
and
I
1-2
disagree with you.
Switch, which is the best IP that they've made in a very long time. That even got a sequel. Oh, we had Labo. That's
To
done.
answer
That was
your
a while
question,
ago, yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
do think they are going to continue to make IP. At least I hope they do. When you look at Splatoon, that was on the Wii U, a
All right,
console that was not
All right,
selling.
PlayStation guy.
Hmm.
Is PlayStation ever gonna make a new IP?
Oh wow.
Probably not. Just the way things are going. You're not wrong about that, right? I'm trying to think about it too, and like what was I mean, they had stuff like Returnal, so but in
Oh,
terms of
that's
like,
true.
are they but and I'm not knocking Returnal, but are they backing it in terms of like, this is The Last of Us, this is God of War, this is Spider-Man? The answer is no, right? It is a new IP, it's critically acclaimed, it's sold decently, but I
It did get
personally
an
don't feel
update,
like
didn't it?
It also has
got an
like a
update.
comic.
It does, but is it getting the same treatment as like The Last of Us, Marvel Spider-Man? It's not there yet, so I don't know. It is unfortunate that not just Nintendo, Sony, they
Yeah.
just continue to rely on this stuff. It is unfortunate. And like you said, Cheesy, like on the Wii U, which did it not sell less than the GameCube? It did, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
did.
it's like the worst selling
Yeah,
It's
system
like
that they've had.
13 million or something like that.
Yeah.
they at least took a chance and launched something new, and look at where they are now. Like you got Splatoon 3, it does sell quite well, so I do want the Nintendo magic, like the way the GameCube captured it. Even if it's weird, give me more consoles with handles on it. I don't know. Just
More.
tell me what's a
We
fun
need more
experience.
handles on the consoles.
Not to be a
Something.
Nintendo fanboy or anything, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo has the most active IP out of the big three.
Yeah.
They know how to capitalize it on more. I would say that. I would agree to that extent, because when I'm thinking about like, you know, Mario, like he's got his own movie. He's in Nintendo World. He's got the action figures. He's got all these spin-off games. Like they do know how to, they value their IP, like we discussed earlier. Like they really know the value in the brand in terms of Mario, Donkey Kong, Metroid. So other consoles, I do want to see them do the same thing, because there is value in exclusive stuff. There is a value in the IP. Like people want the stuff. Like I am a Nintendo fanboy. Like I am buying the remasters and remakes. I'm spending a lot of money in this stuff. So just, I do want to see more value on the PlayStation side, but Nintendo, yeah, they're doing a fantastic job, and I'm very excited to see, what they do with the Switch 2. I do hope you're right, Johnny, that they continue to give me those ports of the GameCube, even though yes, I can technically play them on my GameCube, but it'd be nice to, have modern ways to play it, because not everybody still has a GameCube, right? Not everybody's rebuilding the collection and buying it. And I do want more people to see what the magic was, because like there was just so many unique experiences on that platform, and it's such a shame that people didn't get to experience them. And I feel like I'm only talking to the same people about Eternal Darkness and the same things. And I want more people to
Geist.
know what it was like 20 years ago. Guys, oh my god, so good. Time
Nintendo
Splitters
had two
2,
mature
beautiful
IPs
show.
on the GameCube. It was Eternal Darkness and Geist.
And those are mature games, right? Like it's
Yeah.
nice to see Nintendo, swinging for that stuff. I'm trying to think of what's a modern Nintendo Switch mature game. I
MEO
can't think of.
Yeah. MEO
Is
is
it rated
now.
M? Is it rated
Yeah.
M?
is rated
Yeah.
M, yeah.
Heck
And
yeah,
I guess
Nintendo.
Bayonetta, technically.
More stuff like that. Technically, you're right. Yeah, that's true. So there's, just get weird, Nintendo. Just give me more stuff like that.
Yeah.
We are,
I mean-
we're coming up on the hour. I do have one final question. It's the most important question. What is your favorite GameCube game?
You can only pick one. Killing me here.
All right. Top three. Do top three.
No. I'll do one. And I think I'm not gonna say the easy answer, which is like a Resident Evil port, because I can play them somewhere else. So when I'm really thinking about like, back to my childhood, objectively and subjectively, what's the nostalgic one? It's probably gonna have to be Luigi's Mansion, just because it really was so out of left field to launch it. So and I took a chance on it. And I thought it was gonna be foolish. I'm like, what? I don't want to play as Luigi. Like he's scared. Like, you can't jump. You can't jump as Luigi. Like this is wild. And I
Mhm.
love that game. I loved being a Ghostbuster. And I think from that point, I was like hooked on my GameCube and trying every other game that I could try, that was on that platform. And you know, I remember very, very distinctively when they finally announced Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Switch. Like, I lost my mind. Like, that's probably one of my favorite games on that platform. And it's just because of that fond memory of Luigi's Mansion, of Nintendo, taking a chance with, like, he's not S tier character. He's like, what, B or C? Like, that's how people treat him, unfortunately. He's
Aw.
S
Well,
tier
probably
to
not
me.
anymore.
I
Probably
know.
not anymore. Like with the
I
movie
hope so.
and
Yeah, you get
I
Charlie
hope
Day
so.
to voice him, I
everything.
think. Yeah. But it is interesting with Luigi's Mansion when you think about how like they were trying to make that like a mature game. Like it's rated E, but when you look at like the lighting of it and kind of the spookiness of it, like that was the
It's
game.
spooky.
Like you said, it was the release for the console,
It's a launch title.
the
Yeah.
launch title. And I think they were really trying to go with that, like, you guys, look what we have on the GameCube. It's different than what you've seen before. It's kind of edgy. And I think they were hoping that they were going to sell more with that kind of advertising.
That's too bad, but I'm curious. You two gotta tell me, what's your favorite GameCube games? I'm dying to know. Just one, because I did one.
I have mine, but cheesy, you go.
Oh, come on. Man, I really don't want to say Super Mario Sunshine, but I think that's the one I probably played the most.
Really?
I played that one so much. And I think the reason why I played that one so much was I didn't play Super Mario 64. So that was my
Oh.
introduction to 3D Mario.
I can't even imagine what that's like. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So you must have been blown away, but because you have the jumping mechanics. Like, yeah, I know you're washing stuff, but you must have been blown away, right? With the
Oh, yeah.
jumping and the controls. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of because I played a lot of Banjo-Kazooie on the N64, so that was my first like 3D adventure game, platforming. And so to have that with Mario, like, and that he's using Flood and he can like hover over things, or it could be used as a rocket. Also, Yoshi is in the game. Just collecting different shine sprites, and there is kind of a hub world. Like, I don't know, everything about it, the music to this day is so iconic that it's so easy to just like pick up dun, 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 dun. Like, yeah, and you just want to keep dancing along to it. Yeah, I'll probably say Super Mario Sunshine. A close second, and I have said this on the show before, and it's not even a Nintendo game. Cars, the video game, is so good. It's so fun.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Is
a
it
good game.
Is it a racing game or is it like an RPG?
It's a
What is
racing.
it?
I mean, it can be a racing game. There's definitely like quests where you can race, but you are like kind of exploring Radiator Springs. You can go cow tipping or tractor tipping with Mater. You can paint your car. And I forget his name, but the guy who can like do graffiti. There's like quests that you have to do with the chief. There's like I just forget, and you wouldn't be able to stream it because there's licensed music, and that's what also
Aw.
made it great. Yeah, it's a really good game.
Like I need to check it out.
Yeah.
Kind of curious about that one. You're selling. Well, you're number 2. That's high praise. That's very high praise.
I think just as a kid, like that's the one I remember playing more, or I guess just as much as Mario Sunshine.
I'm gonna assume Cars is not your favorite GameCube game, Johnny.
Oh man, he took it. He took it. He knew I was going to say it, and he took it. No, I want to say Wind Waker, but that has a Wii U port. But Wind Waker was the first the first true Zelda experience that I had. I never played Link to the Past. I never played Ocarina of Time. But I played.
Oh wow! So this must have blown you away.
Yeah, and I played Wind Waker. And can I spoil it?
Yeah,
I think so. It's been 20 years. You're good.
Yeah.
You can
I
spoil
actually
it.
beat this game, so I'm pretty proud of myself. You stab Ganondorf in the face, and that was like that blew my mind. That was so cool. I felt badass.
Honestly, that last boss is so cool because he's kind of like a it's like a spider, isn't he? Isn't that how like the end is?
It's an epic battle. I don't remember if it's a spider. It's been 20
But
years.
you gotta
since I
like
played it,
cut
but
through like
epic.
it's like he's a puppet or something, and you have to cut the strings. I
So,
forget.
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
You weren't upset with like the cartoonish look of Zelda, or did you just like, well, this is just how Zelda is?
Yeah, I probably didn't even think about it, honestly. Like that's the one thing about modern gaming versus gaming 20 years ago. You didn't have people constantly in your ears saying this game sucks.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, the people saying Wind Waker sucks, they weren't online telling you. It's just like the vocal minority. But isn't it
just
ironic?
like some random guy like saying that game sucks. It looks weird.
Yeah, for kids.
But
it's ironic because people poo-pooed on that game so hard when it came out, and now it's like so beloved, so highly regarded. Like I love it.
Yeah,
Good choice.
I will rebuy it. I'll probably buy it on GameCube. I already have it on Wii U and Switch too when that comes out. I also want to get Twilight Princess, but that's another one that's super expensive. I want to get each version of Twilight Princess.
I have that one on the Wii.
GameCube, Wii U, they're all expensive except for Wii. I think that one's kind of cheap. But the game that I have the most fond memories from is Soul Calibur 2.
Wow, I would not
Link
have expected that.
as the guest character. I thought that was
so cool.
so dope. That Soul Calibur 2, for listeners if you didn't know, there was a version on each platform. There was a PlayStation version, an Xbox version, and a GameCube version, and they each had an exclusive guest character. GameCube was Link. PlayStation was the guy from Tekken. The guy from Tekken.
Yeah.
And then Xbox was Spawn. Like that was awesome to me. Link, I actually loaded it up when I got it again, and that game's still fun. Like it's still Soul Calibur is probably my favorite fighting series. It's awesome.
I got one more question, and this is something that I first discovered on TikTok. After having a GameCube for so long, I felt dumb not knowing it, and I want both of you to be honest. We talked about the discs. They're very small. When you put them in the console
thing.
No, not the load up screens, but those are cool. I knew about those.
I didn't know about those until like TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the little Easter eggs that they would have in their console. They need just stuff that they're not doing with Switch. Anyway, when you would put the disc in the console and then you needed to take it out, did you know that there is a button inside that says push?
I didn't know it says push, but I knew you push it and it pops it out.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I
Or you're
thought
just
they were
yanking your games out?
I thought it was extremely difficult to get the discs out of the GameCube.
So none
And
of your
yeah,
games
right there,
work probably because you probably broke them.
It says push. Nah, they all work. And I still have more, Johnny, that I haven't said. And the Metroid Prime that I mentioned was like a double, so it's Metroid Prime and Echoes.
Oh, is it
Oh,
is it the
sweet.
demo disc? So the ones that have the demo disc, I've figured out are expensive. I got the promotional Zelda disc, the not for resale one, and that was pretty expensive.
Those are worth a lot. Those are worth a lot. Those demo games, and I think there's even like some Zelda collections where they had like I think it was like I think like if you bought Wind Waker or pre-ordered it, you'd get like a copy of like Ocarina of
Oh yeah,
Time and
Ocarina of
Majora's
Time and
Mask.
Master
Yeah.
Quest, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are worth a lot because those are super rare. But I'll be very honest, Cheesy. The answer is no. I did not know. So just like you, I yanked them out every single time. And just like you, only recently when I started recollecting, I was like, there's a freaking push button. When into the GameCube, I was like, good God, there is. And
Yeah,
in my head, I was like, why don't they just tell you? But you're telling me that there's a push button. But I don't read the inside of my GameCube.
it's
Did
also
somebody else?
really small. Yeah, and it
Okay,
So
also
you're
seems
saying
like
the,
that's
the whole time you
that's-
had a GameCube, like
I
when
still
you were a
have one.
kid, when you were younger, you just pulled it out. You didn't even try to press that button in there.
I would
Every
like
single
kind
time.
of yeah, you would kind of go around it. So like if it did feel like it was going to start to bend, you would go from the other side and kind of, loosen all sides. But also like this silver piece that says push on it, I don't think as a kid I would have touched that because I'm like kind of what Nagachaga is saying is like it's the inside of a GameCube. I'm not going to touch that. I don't want to mess anything up in there.
Nintendo being Nintendo, giving us instructions inside their
It's
console.
it's probably in the manual. So you guys probably just didn't read the manual.
I was a kid. I don't know. Who cares?
read it.
Just hook it
I didn't
up.
read that menu.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so I have Metroid Prime, and then it says Metroid Prime 2 Echoes bonus disc, and then it also
Yeah, I think
says
that's
on the back
demo. I think it's a demo.
links to Metroid Fusion for Game Boy Advance.
Yes, you would get the fusion suit if you linked them.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot. That's worth a lot.
The
You're
yeah, you're sitting
Sitting
on
on
some
a gold
gold.
mine?
You're sitting on
That's
some
what
gold.
I'm
Yeah.
realizing. Yeah.
yeah. You're
I
sitting
see
on
something
quite the
really
collection.
ugly behind you though. I see the yellow player's choice. I hate that thing. I hate the player's choice.
Which yeah,
I think you like
Who
it,
has
it
it?
looks like you have the one
Me?
that's
Some
on the
that are
very
player's
end.
choice.
It looks like it has a yellow.
oh no.
I have some that are like that.
Wait,
hate that.
wait. Oh shoot. I think it's Luigi's Mansion.
I have
That
some
kills
that are
the
player's
value.
choices because it kills the value. But when I was rebuilding, I was like, this is really expensive. I had to. There's a few that I just like. Give me the yellow sticker. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a player's choice.
Boo!
Player's choice Luigi
So you didn't get
Mansion.
that at launch.
It's your copy.
I didn't.
It's okay. It's fine. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
no, I mean, I picked up some. I think I got Animal Crossing with the player's choice on it, but that was when I was dumb and didn't do any research. I just was buying games to buy games, essentially. So I am not buying player's choice anymore.
Look at this, guys. It says, "Don't be scared to subscribe to Nintendo Power."
I miss
Yes.
Nintendo Power too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with Rogue Leader on the cover.
Nice.
Anyway,
Well, we went over an hour, but this was a really fun conversation.
this was. It's not really a debate or anything. It's just I think we've found
You know what the
something that
debate
Johnny
is?
and I
You know what the
can both-
debate is?
What's the debate?
The
What's the
people who
debate?
didn't buy a GameCube are stupid.
Jeez. Okay. Well, Nagachaka, it's been great having you on. Thank you so much for your time and just sharing your love of GameCube. Just as a reminder, where can people find you? What do you do? And if you want to come onto the show again, you just let us know.
Johnny Cheesy, I had an absolute blast just geeking about my favorite Nintendo console, the GameCube. So thank you so much for having me. And yeah, if you want to hear more from me, you can check me out on Carpool Gaming's the PlayStation Drive, where we talk about PlayStation. You can find Nagachaka on Twitter and Nagachaka on TikTok and Nagachaka12247 on Instagram. But again, thank you so much, guys. I had an absolute blast. This was a lot of fun.
Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm John Ebo everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the Nintendo Powercast, and I have been posting videos on my socials showing my collecting of the GameCube games and everything. So definitely check that out, and you'll see that I got Player's Choice lame ones, and some have like gross stickers on them. I don't like that either.
Like price tags or what?
Yeah, it has like the leftover price. Apparently, you could use peanut butter to get it off. Somebody told me to use peanut butter.
No. Just use. Have you heard of Goo Gone?
Yeah, I do. I actually have Goo Gone.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Use Goo Gone.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's
should
for.
work. It should work. Yeah.
All right. I do have a bottle, so I will use it.
Yeah, it should work.
But it's super fun. Like, it's super fun. I'm having a blast collecting. Probably gonna go broke, but it's still really fun.
It's worth it.
It's an investment. I'll sell it when I'm 70.
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, the Nintendo Powercast, GZC64, CHEEZYC64. Ngachacha, close us out. What are some closing thoughts that you have?
GameCube's the GOAT. If you haven't played them, you can still play the great games on Nintendo Switch.
Communication error.